All right, guys. So, like I said, we want to trade responsibly. I took a big risk, got hurt pretty bad this morning because we didn't have the gap down that I expected. I do expect a decline here, though, based on the fact that there was no gap down. We should see this decline, and then out of the decline, a fast sudden move higher, marking the end of it. In either case, this is going to be like a mix to the up day. We'll probably revisit the high like more than once, but I think we'll end lower at the end of the day. Then we won't we'll end off of the highs. I think probably towards the end of the day it gets pretty bearish, and then we open higher. So the way that I'm gonna get back into the game, guys, I've got a doctor's appointment today. I can't reschedule it like a fifth time, so I've got to go. Um, but what my plan is tomorrow here in the morning would be a good opportunity to get back into a short position for a day trade, close it at the end of the day. And then there'll be a big move higher at the end of the day out of that high. You could either do another day trade there, like a long position into the close, and close it at the close for another day trade. Or better yet, wait till the end of the day, like take that short day trade there and then wait till the end of the day and hop back into a short position because there's that unicursal again. And this is definitely this seems a lot more like today and yesterday in the dailies have been, they're two very like kind of like unclear days, so like not the best days to be relying on for trades. But when we get into the sixth is a cross reading congruency with the tower card. So the decline starts on Friday in the morning, declines into the late afternoon, and then there's like a pop higher in the late afternoon before we have like a big drop to a lowest low thus far there in the morning of the 6th. And that's where I'll get back my gains. And at that point, I'm probably gonna take a breather. I'll look to get back in around the 25th of November. I'll probably get back in on the 21st, maybe the 27th. Matter of fact, I think I probably position myself on the 24th, and I believe that's a half day, but I position myself appropriately on the 24th for that volatility. Hey, deduct. Yeah, for sure. Holding overnight's really not a good idea, especially because like pretty much all of the funny business that traders like don't know they're dealing with, all of that funny business happens in between trading sessions. Yeah, I agree, deduct. You have to think of it as though when you put your money in the market, it's no longer your money, and as long as it's in there, it's somebody else's money. It's only your money when it's in your account. When it's in when it's represented by symbols in your account rather than by actual dollars and cents, it's not your money, and you should think of it that way because they're doing everything they can to keep it their money. I definitely want to be bullish into the morning of the 3rd. And that credit spread's really messing with my margin. I try never to do those for that reason. It really messes stuff up sometimes. I got out of it. Took a $200 loss, which is, it's still a gain. That's just I took $200 out of the gain because it was originally a credit spread. So I did all right with that. I'm opening up some call options right now. I should have just left them open yesterday. The original plan, the ones I closed yesterday, I thought we would have this drop and I'd be able to get back in. But the original plan was to hold them until the morning of Friday, and they probably would be super, super valuable by then. Not really a lot of time here for me to answer questions, guys. If you're asking me questions, I'm not paying attention. I'm trading right now, and I have to go in like 10 minutes. So, sorry, guys. I'm not gonna fall victim to distraction when I have money in the market. That's a big part of why when people are like, "Where's the money?" It's because I'm doing way too many things. Like you have to be completely laser focused. That's why I'm talking about taking a breather. I can only do it for like a limited time, and then I have to get out because there's so many other things that I need to worry about. All right, so I got into some 329s expiring on the 10th. 329 calls. I expect we probably hit this 100-day moving average by Friday morning. If I was right, I would have tripled my money. So that there was some risk involved. I knew it was risky, but you're not going to be right all the time. You got to go with what you expect to be right. And then probably by like the eighth, ninth, 10th, somewhere in there, we'll probably be like poking up above the 100 day. All right, let's see. All right. Hey, AV. Yeah, it is. Why? Why do you? I have it marked off as there's no card there for the 23rd AV. I mean, deduct. These are opinions, my man. Scalping for people, it might be great, but for a lot of people, that's probably the worst move. They should not try scalping. Everybody's gonna have a different system. I don't like to deal with options that expire same week. In case I'm wrong, you know. And I think a master trader's never gonna go like, oh, it's absolutely 100% this way 100% of the time, even if they've got accuracy like I do, which they don't. You can see I was wrong this morning. I was originally right, doubted myself, lost money because of the doubt, and that's why I say doubt almost always equals loss. Doubt is not part of faith mentality. It's not part of abundance mentality. And whatever mentality you have, you are manifesting more of. So when you have doubt, you're manifesting a lack of type of mentality, a lack of faith. All right, so I want to see if I can guesstimate some things here. Only got a few minutes and then I got to roll, guys. All right, so we're attempting to establish support. Looks like would have expected more of a decline here, but we didn't really get much. And that's going to happen, guys. Like I said, it's not 100% of the time. First off, there's human error, which is the majority of the error of SO meta is going to be due to human error. I got ADD. It's a lot of information. You know, sometimes I'm trading. Sometimes I've got doctor's appointments. Sometimes there's deaths in the family. I actually lost an aunt and an uncle, both an aunt and an uncle within a week's time, about 2 weeks ago. I mean, that stuff impacts you, you know. So, you know, and then when it's not human error, there's a very, very, very small percentage that's really like it's a fractal. So if you understand fractals, you understand what a fractal is. It's a pattern within itself. You know what? Matter of fact, why don't I show you guys? So this is a fractal, right? It's the same pattern. If you look closely at this spiral it's formed from the same spiral as this big spiral. These small spirals are formed from the same, but the way that it gets bigger and smaller is that it has permutations. Everything in reality is made up of the same pattern that repeats itself with small permutations adjusting for slight changes and variations, right? So what we're doing is we're looking at a small version of a big fractal. We're looking at a section of a smaller version, right, of a bigger fractal, a fractal that we exist within. And with that said, there's going to be a small little percentage where the cards aren't gonna like line up exactly with what the meaning is supposed to be. That's like maybe like 0.5% of the time, or excuse me, yeah, like half a percent. In other words, half a percent of the time, you know, and the other 1.5% of the time is really human error. So you have to be prepared for that. Never be all in. Like I didn't. I could have. I was so confident about this move to the downside overnight. I could have been a rookie and gone all in, right? I could have gone all in, and then I would have basically liquidated my account and had nothing to work with. That would have been so silly, you know. It was a big move to the upside, so it would have really. So I put in a good amount, but I definitely left room for error for that 2% variation. You know what I mean? And with that, I'm now working. I'm still up, but with that, I'm going to get back the gains that I shaved off overnight, because you can't, from that little error, you could then be like, oh, the system doesn't work, and then have doubt every single time. Or you could just remind yourself that, oh, there was that little error, but 98% of the time it's accurate. So if I just continue on with my faith and my strategies, and I continue moving forward with the plan of trades that I see ahead of me, it's not too difficult to get it back, you know? I'm gonna have to go in like 5 minutes, guys. I think another thing that I did, learning from the mistake, it's always important to, when you have something go wrong, guys. It's a huge opportunity to learn. Man, I'm really shocked about those ruins, though. So I kind of have a feeling that we're going to go higher here, but it's a mixed day. I think we go higher here, and then we end up probably back around the same price levels as where we started. I sort of have that feeling. And then the following day, we open up much higher. And this is like now 10 to 11 o'clock hour where we're going to be attempting to establish support. Big move probably a big move higher probably between like 11 and after we establish support here between like 11 and 1. But then I'd expect a pretty big drop around 2 o'clock. Ooh, I just noticed that. Oh, and the other thing, guys. So we had the unicursal here, and we went higher. What the hell? What the hell? Right? So that's what I always say, guys. Is there's two things that the unicursal usually does. It's usually it marks a moment before a sharp decline. But when in cases where we can continue to go higher after the unicursal, it's important to mark that off. And I think really right here. Ooh. This might be the abundance card right here, actually, from yesterday. Yikes. If that ends up being the abundance card, then that means we've got a drop right in front of us, guys. Well, in either case, I'm remaining bullish. Like I originally planned, I should have remained bullish into the morning of the 3rd. I'm going to be back on after my doctor's appointment, probably earlier than 4. There's my alarm. I got to run, guys. But with that said, be mindful. This is going to be kind of like a wild day. Eventually, midday to the upside, and then probably back down a little bit off of the highs at the end of the day. All right, guys, I got to roll. I mean, deduct. I've been trading since the year 2000 when E-Trade was the only online broker. So I appreciate the advice, but I do take profits. I know that. That's how I got from the 600 cash to 4100 in a week and a half was by taking profits. I just made a mistake yesterday. That's all, and that happens. But a good trader doesn't. It's not that a good trader never takes losses. A good trader, like, they cut their losses, they reduce their losses, they have more gains than they do losses, and they understand, they learn from their losses, they understand that their losses are part of the game, and they account for those, those losses possibly happening. That's why I'm in the game right now. I could have been like, oh man, I've been right for like I haven't lost a trade since I started trading in 2.5 weeks, and nothing could go wrong, and put everything I had into a short position last night for this like drop that I expected to come. I mean, that would have been so dumb. You know, I could have been like, oh yeah, let me put all of my puts into all of my contracts into like next day expiration out of the money puts, because there's going to be this huge move that I was so certain of. And that would have seemed like the smart thing to do because I was so certain, but it was not the smart thing to do. I'm glad I didn't do it. I had options that lost value, but they weren't completely wiped, lost away. I was able to liquidate them and then reallocate that cash. And the reason why I was able to do that is because the expirations were out in the 10th and the 11th, and not on the 3rd or the 2nd. Like, especially if you don't know much about options, you should definitely avoid the scalps. I'm talking from somebody who's learned, probably lost money every freaking way you could think of. That's how I learned. Right? I lost a lot of money before I started making money. But again, when I started, guys, it was the year 2000. E-Trade was the only online broker. That's why I use E-Trade today, because I've always used them. And with that said, guys, I really got to roll. So blessings.